Hello and welcome to your Wolves versus West Ham United build-up. The team lineups are out in about 15 minutes, but Arnautovic does start. I can tell you, Arnautovic starts. Alan Creswell is missing, so you can probably connect the dots and work out the rest of the lineup. But officially, they're out in at 7:45, so we'll talk you through them then. Before that, me and Gonzo are going to take a little quick squiz of the rest of the Premier League fixtures and give us a minute or two thoughts on it, and then we'll react to the Wolves and West Ham lineups as they come in. First of all, Gonzo, we'll head over to Emirates. Arsenal take on Cardiff City. What's your feelings for this game?
Well, the shadow of that tragedy, of course, is hanging over this game. I don't know what Cardiff do. From now, I mean, they're in a tricky sort of position because they possibly want to start the grieving process. But how much do you grieve for a player that you've never actually had? So obviously it's the club he's come from that are really going to do the grieving because they're the ones that know him, have had the daily relationship. They can't press on and do that because obviously the research has been called off. So, and you have to really respect the family's wishes, and the family are trying to get some money together. I think they're crowdfunding to get more search. So the family haven't accepted that he's dead yet. And do you know what? Why should they? Who's to say how you'd act in such a situation? They're obviously clinging on to the fact that that he's still alive because the plane has not gone dead because the wreckage has not been found. So they're in that situation. So I mean, I think it would have been their record signing as well. So how that's the sad tragedy of the story. How that translates in a football sense, who bloody knows? I mean, that's terrible. I think, did they get dumped by Newcastle in the last game? I think just before. I think they got. Did they get beaten 3-0 by Newcastle? I think
Possibly.
Yeah, so I think it had already happened then. I think if I've got my timings right there. So there's a heavy cloud hanging over the club. You'd expect Arsenal to go and turn them over because of that. But before all of that happened, Cardiff's home form have been decent. What I do find quite interesting with Arsenal is, I mean, they've got some players coming back like Monreal and that tonight, but it's the fact that they've just signed this geezer Suarez, not the good one, from Barcelona. And I just look at it and I look at that whole dream of Arsenal moving to the Emirates Stadium and how it's going to move them on to bigger and better things. And they've gone for a title-winning club at Highbury to a club where nothing quite highlights how far they've slipped, the fact that they are now loaning players from Barcelona.
Yeah, I mean, I expect Arsenal to win this one reasonably comfortable. Arsenal need a reaction. They got smashed by Man United in the FA Cup, and it was quite an embarrassing result in the end. It was 3-1, but it could have been 4 or 5. Man United were using the Emirates as their playground, if you like. Rashford, Martial. Well, that's the thing. Lukaku was running the show in the first half of all players. Alexis Sanchez obviously scored against them. Then Solskjaer takes them two off, puts on Martial and Rashford, who then also ran riot. And then Jesse Lingard was dancing, he was moonwalking on the Emirates, and then he posted up a picture of him about how the Emirates was his dance floor, because obviously last season he scored, then he did a dance from Fortnite or something on the Emirates, so he's danced there the last 2 games. So those Arsenal fans are starting to get a little bit pissed off, not at the manager, but at the ownership. They're starting to say, you need to spend a little bit of money here. They're not doing it. As you said, Cardiff are in an awkward situation because they applied for the Premier League. They asked the Premier League for an extension to their transfer window, and they got told no. So, Cardiff were obviously saying we've spent £15 million on a player who there's been a tragedy. We need to get another player in. And the Premier League have basically said tough luck. The transfer deadline's when the transfer deadline is. Awkward situation, but I expect a home win as well. I'm going to go for 3-0 Arsenal. Do you care to give me a score prediction?
Yeah, I might go with that, mate. I haven't given it too much thought, but that sounds about right, really, doesn't it?
The only glimmer of hope for Cardiff is Bellerin's out for a while, so right back could be Lichtsteiner. And if so, all I would say is just keep going for him because he is awful. You will get a little bit of hope. And then we're moving across London to Craven Cottage. Fulham take on Brighton. And Gonzo, this could be a tasty affair. Fulham need to start getting points on the board, and this is surely one fixture the fans will be looking at and expecting something from.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're looking to avoid their 4th straight defeat, Fulham. And they've got, I checked before we come on air, and they have got a terrible record against Brighton. I can't remember, I've lost the page now. Can't remember exactly what it was, but basically Fulham don't beat Brighton is the long and short of it. They're missing some players. Alfie Mawson was obviously a big signing for Fulham. Missed him out. I've watched them play, and they're not playing well, but I have thought a little glimmer for them, players you'd probably think were going to perform anyway, which is Sessegnon has still looked good Schürrle has still looked like a decent player. So not sure. I do remember. I think something like Glenn Murray's playing now, and I think he's scored 4 times his last 5 games against Fulham, which doesn't bode well. We like to think at West Ham we get the rough end of the stick when players just continually score against us. I think for what Romelu Lukaku is to West Ham, I think Glenn Murray certainly is to Fulham. So they won't be looking forward to him coming. Having said that being said, I just don't think you carry on losing and losing and losing. They've got 14 points, but for some reason, I think Fulham are going to win.
I think I watched their last game. They played Spurs, and Ryan Babel got his first start since joining them, and he looked good. He had Kieran Trippier running ragged in the first hour anyway, tired after a little bit. But then Sessegnon was on the bench, and then he sort of took him off and put Sessegnon on for the last 20 minutes. I thought, well, this is fantastic. Bringing on one of your fastest players up against a tired defence. If he does that against Brighton, I think they might have a little bit of success. I think Fulham will win this one. They've been creating chances. They've looked okay, but the thing is, when they get sucker punched, when they got a goal down, they seem to lose all sort of self-belief and confidence. It just evaporates out of them completely. As soon as they concede, it's done. The first goal in that game is so crucial tonight, and I think Fulham will get it. Mitrovic has obviously been wound up since getting the ball nicked off him from a penalty. He looks good against Spurs. He looked good. He was unlucky not to score. I'm going to go for, I'll say 2-1 Fulham in this one, Gonzo.
Yeah, I might go for, you've reminded me of that. That was a very, very late winner, wasn't it, for Tottenham? They were unlucky, Fulham. So, yeah, I'm going to match you again. I'm sure we'll differ on some scorelines, but I think there's only 1 goal in it, so I think there'll be more than 1-0. So I'll go with 2-1 as well.
Well, another team that need points, and even more so than Fulham, is Huddersfield. Their first game under their new manager, Jan Stewart, who's come over from Dortmund II or Dortmund 2, however you pronounce it or say it. And the reserve team of Dortmund. He's a new manager there. He's not the guy that Sky Sports thought he was in the crowd in their last home game. What do you expect from this one? They're at home to Everton, who are in horrendous form. They got beat 3-2 by Millwall in the FA Cup, and prior to that, they got beat 2-1 by Southampton in the league. Yeah,
I mean, Everton have not been clever, and there's been a lot of talk about Silva retaining the job, but they can't keep changing managers. I mean, was it Koeman, Allardyce, Silva? They can't just keep doing it. At some point, they need to try and do a settled management structure at that club. They've got so many players out on loan. I can't even remember what the stat was. I saw it in a week. They've got so many players on loan, they can't bring anyone else in. So they're just swamped with players. They keep spending, and they just need to calm down a little bit, keep their manager, get rid of a few players, and maybe bring 1 or 2 players in key positions. And I still think they struggle for centre forward, despite that's always, I think it's been the case since they lost Lukaku. I think under any other circumstances and any other team, I think the opposition might do something against Everton. And I think maybe even Huddersfield could have done, but I think they're missing Moy, who's a big player for them. And I think they're going to struggle. I still think Everton can win this, despite Huddersfield having the uplift of a new manager.
What's your score prediction?
I go 2-0 to Everton.
I'm going to go 2-2. I thought Huddersfield, this was an awkward game because they didn't have Wagner, they didn't have their new manager, so the caretaker was in charge for it. I thought Huddersfield played well against Man City in the first half. Thought they had a go. He changed what they used to do. Wagner used to like his target man up front. He got rid of that and had 3 pacey forwards on, and Benza and Diaktabe, or whatever his name is, from Monaco. Yeah, them up front. And I think they caused City a little bit of trouble until Pep tore into them at halftime and sort of said, look, stop this, get it on the floor, do what you do. And then that's when it rode. I think Huddersfield are going to come out of this with something. They're up against the perfect opposition. If you can say to that Huddersfield manager, who would you like in your first game in charge? He'd probably look at the form, he'd probably look at other teams and think, I wouldn't mind Everton, actually, because Everton are the favourites going into this. The pressure's on Everton to get something, but Everton are smack bang out of form. So this is ideal start for the Huddersfield manager, and I think you'll get something. Their home form's not that bad, despite being bottom of the table. Despite no striker scoring for them this season, they scored in all their home games bar 2. So they are doing a little bit here and there. I think they'll get something against Everton. Anyway, moving on to the 8 p.m. kickoff starting at Old Trafford. Manchester United take on Burnley. Ole just can't stop winning. Do you see another win for him tonight?
Yeah, that might be 7th, which is a record, or it equals Pep's and Ancelotti's, something like that, or maybe he is currently equal with them. I don't know, but he's in uncharted territory, and the longer it goes on, the more he looks like he will keep the job. And why not? And why shouldn't he? If he's going to do that, he's liberated them. He's got them playing with a freedom, and as a player that was, you know, that was played under Alex Ferguson and knows about Man United's traditional attacking ethos, he was always going to just take the shackles off. This is a win for Man United. I can't see any other way, as you suggested. In the Arsenal game, they were bringing players on that hadn't had starts yet and bringing other players into the fold. Their tails are up. They're absolutely buzzing. They got options off the bench, and they do have, you know, some world-class players in their team. So I can't see Burnley winning this one.
Yeah, I thought when Man United played Brighton at Old Trafford, I thought, oh, this will be a test. Hughton will set up, defensively strong. How are they going to get through? They were 2-0 up by half-time. They found a way. FA Cup, he put out Sanchez and Lukaku. Both of them look bang in form. So, you know, he's got so much to choose from up front. But not only that, they're all performing for him as well. So he's rejuvenated Pogba. He's rejuvenated Martial. He's rejuvenated Rashford. Can you rejuvenate Lukaku and Sanchez? Well, going by what we've seen at the Emirates, the answer is yes, but they've just got to wait for their chance to get into the team, because the ones that are in ahead of them are doing so well. So much options to choose from. And if they can break down Brighton, I think they'll break down Burnley. I'm going to go for home win as well, and comfortable as well. The last game, very quickly before the lineups come out, Newcastle against Man City. The title race is going on and on and on and on, but you think it's going to be a case of just another easy City win? I think so. They've scored over 20 goals in their last few games and conceded none.
Yeah, I think we're, well, I say we're all, me certainly. I'm just expecting City to keep winning and looking for when Liverpool are going to slip up. I expect City to win this season, because I just think at the moment, it's luxury of riches. I think Sterling, Sane and Aguero are just a little bit stronger in this particular moment than Salah, Mane and Firmino. So for that reason, I think City will do that. Obviously, Newcastle, there's been some shenanigans at the club about Rafa Benitez, about him not wanting to stay there. Looks like Mike Ashley's put his hand in his pocket. There's a player coming over from Atalanta, to sign for Newcastle, and I think there might be another one on the way as well, so he might well be getting some reinforcements that he needs. Even if they were available for tonight, which they're not, he's not going to be able to beat Manchester City. The best he can hope for is really trying to battle for a draw. It'll be set up, it'll be well organised, but well organised ain't enough against this very, very exciting and fluid Manchester City team. I think Man City win 2-0.
Yeah, I'll go for that as well. And the lineups will be out in a minute or so. But Gonzo, and the unofficial lineup, if you like, the 11 that I've got, it means that there's a couple of changes to what we were wanting to see. Masuaku is starting ahead of Aaron Creswell. Creswell's injured, so Masuaku starts by default, as does Ogbonna, Diop, and Zabaleta at the back with Fabianski back and goal. What's your reaction to Masuaku playing?
Well, there's nothing else we can do about it, is there? It's a worry. I don't know who they're going to play with. They've play Costa up there or something. I don't know what they're going to do. It ain't going to be too clever, though. It's a real worry. Everyone, look, you don't have to be Leeds United and hiding scouts in the bushes and at the training grounds. You just would have had to have a look at the television cameras to watch the Wimbledon game to know where West Ham are weak, and they will target Masuaku and they will target Ogbonna. Do we have any choice in either position? I don't think we do. It shows how thin the squad is. But I mean, what's happening with these injuries? We keep getting these injuries. We can't keep players fit. It's a bit ridiculous, actually.
And there's also been a knock to Sammy Nasri, so he does not start tonight, which means no Bolton Rice starting centre midfield, Anderson on the left, Antonio on the right, and the guy who might be playing centre midfield, he might be playing in behind the striker, is Robert Snodgrass, and up front is Marco Arnautovic. What do you make of the rest of the team, Gonzo?
Well, the Nasri things, I think, is an issue. Whenever we lack creativity. We really lack creativity. In particular, Anderson lacks somebody to play with, somebody who's on his wavelength. I know Nasri wasn't great against Bournemouth. We've alluded to it in the preview, but we're going to battle. We're going to try and battle today. And do you know what? Maybe that's not the worst thing in the world following what happened against Wimbledon, but I do think we're going to struggle to cut them open. We're going to struggle to create. We're going to struggle there, really. I think we're really done with Nasri, I don't know, Lanzini, Wilshere, anyway, just one more technical player in the team would make an awful lot of difference. It's a bit of a worry. And Arnautovic, well, I just said so much about Arnautovic, haven't we? He's the best striker we've got, and I would have started him tonight.
What's always important, but could be even more important tonight, in my opinion, is your bench. Both teams will be needed to change the game. I think it could be a tight game. West Ham United's bench is Adrian, Fredericks, Coventry, Obiang, Diangana, Hernandez, and Andy Carroll. Plenty of attacking players, but there's not much in terms of defence or midfield, if you like. We've got Obiang, Coventry, but just Fredericks is the only recognised defender on there. Is that a bit of a worry? Yeah,
but again, what did he do? I guess he could have put Pask on there. Just shows the frailty of the squad, really, doesn't it? I guess you would think. I know we all love Declan Rice in central midfield, but there is somebody in the squad you can stack a bench by thinking if there is an injury. So he's going to think, oh, Bonner and Diop play all game. If there's an injury, Declan Rice can step back there. He puts Obiang in central midfield. It's not ideal, but I guess that area is covered. From that, I guess by the same token, you can move Zabaleta inside if you needed to because Fredericks is there. But it's not great. It's not great. We're desperately, Geo, I'm speaking very matter-of-factly about which players are in, which players are out. I'm not feeling great, I'm not feeling great on this one. I'm not really looking forward to it, if you know what I mean. I'm a bit nervous, a bit worried, and just a strange worry, really. Not worried about relegation, but not hopeful, actually, not hopeful.
And those are the best games, though, when you expect nothing, really. Those are the ones you've got nothing to lose, in theory. I'm happy with 9 of the starting 11. The 2 I'm not too happy about is Ogbonna and Masuaku. Ogbonna is nothing really as Pellegrini can do unless you changes up a lot of the 11 in order to fit a piece of the jigsaw in, or he throws a kid in there. You don't say opting for Ogbonna. I'm really worried about him. I've seen the Wolves line up, and their strikers are who we expected and who we were fearing. They're going to be going up against Ogbonna and also Masuaku. Like you said, all they have to do is take a little glance at the Wimbledon game. They know exactly where to come from. On the preview I did with you, I said I thought Doherty was one of the best defenders outside the top 6. He's starting right wing back today up against Masuaku. So looking at Wolves' team makes me even more worried about Masuaku and Ogbonna. But at the same time, they've got to turn up at some point. They're not bad footballers. They aren't. Ogbonna was a good in the back four at Upton Park. He was a good centre back there. So how he's turned rubbish overnight almost is strange. And Masuaku was good at left back for a period of time. Better at left wing back, of course. But these guys need to take the most of their opportunity. I'm a bit worried about our bench as well, because if we're losing, you've got Hernandez on there, and that's about it. You've got Diangana, who's gone back into shell a little bit, I feel, in the last few games. Even against Wimbledon, that was his chance. He never really took it. A couple of shoulder barges, and that was him out of the game. So we've got Carroll on there. It's not going to be inspiring, is it, when you go down, you've got Carroll coming on the pitch. But anyway, let's take a quick look at the Wolves lineup. It's as you'd expect, really. Patricio in goal, a back 3 of Sass, Cody and Bennett. Obviously, Bowley is suspended for this one. Their wing-backs are Otto and Doherty. The 3 in midfield, Dendoncker, who West Ham were obviously linked with for quite a while. Stuart Pearce went to watch, and he was playing in the wrong position. And then Matinho and Neves. And up front, they've got Jota and Raul Jimenez. Pretty much their first 11, bar a couple of absentees. But it's what you'd expect. A better 11 than ours, would you say, or certainly a very competitive 11?
Well, I think the key is I don't think I think Anderson gets in their team. I think Diop gets in their team. I think Declan Rice gets in their team. I think Arnautovic gets in their team. So we're not bereft of talented players. Patricio, good keeper, but if someone gave me a swap for him and Fabianski, no, I'd have to say I would stick with Fabianski at the moment. So I'm not totally envious of their team, of their individual players, but I do think as a team and their ethos, and it's the midfield that worries me. I think we are just going to struggle to create a midfield. I do wonder, you've read out the team, and obviously the team gets printed out in that way. I wonder if he springs a surprise. I wonder if he plays Antonio as an out-and-out striker with Arnautovic just behind him, as Snodgrass is right. I wonder if he does that. I wonder, just to throw things up a bit, just to surprise old what's his name again? DeSanto, whatever his name is, just to throw throw him a little bit of a curveball and give him something to think about in the early part of the match tactically. I think he's going to need to do something. And if you are going to lose the battle, if not lose the battle in central midfield, but if you're going to struggle creatively in central midfield, then I do think it's important that you pose them some problems in attack. So maybe an answer to that is to play 2 strikers and give them something to think about and start getting some crosses in. Going to be interesting, mate. Going to be interesting.
It's their centre midfielders that really worry me for this one. They're going to control the game, I think. I think Noble and Rice, I hope Snodgrass is in there with them, actually. Otherwise, I think we could be coming on the review saying, well, how are Noble and Rice meant to cope up against 3 really good centre midfield? Dodonker is an unknown quantity, but he's coming to the starting 11. He's held his place down. But we all know about Neves and Moutinho. You'd be hard pushed to name a better centre midfield partnership outside the top 6 in the Premier League. There might be one at Leicester. Depends if they sign the player they've been linked with. But until then, this is probably the best partnership outside the top 6. They're going to have a very hard game. Doherty comes flying down that right wing at times, and I'm a bit scared about Masuaku. The only thing that gives me a little glimmer of hope is if we take the shackles off Anderson and say, don't worry about Doherty, let Masuaku worry about him. You just stay in that final third. So when we get the ball, we know where the ball's going. It's going out to Anderson, stretch their back 3, pull their right centre-back right out to the touchline. He won't like out there. No centre-back wants to go out to the touchline. So stretch it, get that back 3 opened up, and let Antonio come pinging up the pitch. Arnautovic running up the pitch as well. Snodgrass will get up there through grit and determination. He's not the paciest of guys, but he will get up there. So I think counter-attacking football, we've looked good playing counter-attacking football this season under Pellegrini, and I actually think tonight we've got an opportunity to play what we're best at. We are actually worse when we have to sort of break teams down a little bit. That's when we struggle. We won't have that problem tonight against Wolves. I don't think they're going to be quite open. They've got 2 up front. So there will be opportunities. I think there'll be goals tonight. I think both teams will find will get on the score sheet. It's just a case of who scores more, Gonzo. And with that in mind, can I get your final thoughts ahead of the game and your final score prediction, please?
Yeah, before I do, who's been linked with Leicester?
He's not there yet, but Tielemans from Monaco, and the youngster that.
Oh yeah. The Avalon was an Anderlecht.
Yeah. He's been linked with Leicester, so then he'll obviously join Ndidi in the centre of the pitch.
Yeah. He's been the future for some time. Anyway, okay. Well, what with Masuaku in and Nasri out, I'm going to amend. I went 2-2 last night. I think we might lose 2-0.
Interesting. I'm going to say 2-1 Wolves, actually. The thing is, I would take a point right now. We draw, we play well. I'll come on the review and praise them, actually, because it'll be a point well earned. Wolves are a very good side. It's the battle for 7th. The battle for 7th is commencing tonight after we're not in the FA Cup, so it's all about 7th heaven. But anyway, let us know in the comments below what you think of the lineup, and give us your last minute score predictions. You can join myself and Gonzo straight after full time on the Other Hammers Chat YouTube channel. The link is in the description below. Make sure you subscribe to both. We're not far off 4,000 on this channel. It'll be good to get there very, very soon, and especially before the end of the season. So hit the subscribe button, drop a like on the video if you enjoyed it. And me and Gonzo and a guest will see you straight after full time.